watching the Bedlam Nation Conversation. I'm Mike Sherman. He's OSU beat writer Scott Wright, and we're talking about the Cowboys and the NFL draft, which means we're talking Brandon Pettigrew. Scott, sounds like the OSU tight end is one of the hottest names on the draft board. As we count down to Saturday's first round, what's the latest on Brandon Pettigrew?
Well, you know, it's really a pretty wide spectrum at this point. You can find a mock draft that has him going as high as number 11, falling all the way to the end of the first round. Doesn't look like he's going to fall out of this first round though on Saturday.
Okay, what is it exactly that sets him apart from all the other tight ends, and that he's the only name you hear for tight ends in the first round?
Well, it's the fact that he can do it all. Really short of being a guy that's going to be a deep threat that's going to beat a free safety. He can run block, he can pass block. He's got good hands, a good route runner. Catches the ball well and moves the chains. He's the complete tight end, and especially with the influx of spread offenses in college football, you're not seeing a lot of guys like this. Chase Kaufman at Missouri was a guy that when we came into the draft, people were talking about him being high, and he's starting to slide down because he's a guy that's never blocked before. You're taking a chance on a guy that always lines up in the slot. Jared Cook at South Carolina went out and ran a low 4.40 at 245 pounds, which is pretty impressive. But he's not a guy that can line up and block every down if you need him to. So that's what Pettigrew brings, and that's what's going to, number one, get him high in the draft, and number two, keep him in the league for a long time.
Okay, Scott, Pettigrew did not have the senior year that people thought he could. He had a great junior year making those Superman plays, but got nicked up, had an off-the-field incident, didn't have the stats, and then goes to the combine, not so much. Is that holding him down, his stock down at all?
You know, there was a lot of talk whenever he went to the combine and ran a 4.85, 4.87 40, but when it gets down to it, he's 6'6" and weighed in at over 260 pounds. Guys aren't expecting him to go out and run a whole lot faster than a 4.8. So the intangibles, the tools that he does have, are certainly impressive enough to kind of put that stuff behind you. The fact, like I said, he's not going to be a guy that you're going to send on a go route down the middle of the field and hope that he beats a safety. He's a move the chains type of receiver. That'll get open over the middle and get you good chunks of 10, 12, 15 yards when you need it. But he's not going to be that guy that just flies down the field, and people know that about him, and really nobody cares.
And the NFL is full of tight ends like that. One team that's reportedly showed interest in Pettigrew was the Philadelphia Eagles. Then last week they trade one of their 2 first-round picks. Does that really hurt his chances of winding up in Philly?
It really does, but in the same breath, it doesn't hurt his chances of staying in the first round, because Buffalo is another team that needs a first-round pick, and obviously having traded their left tackle, a little extra blocking help wouldn't be a problem for Buffalo either. So they pick up that number 28 pick that Philadelphia gave up. So now Philadelphia's at number 21. Buffalo's at 11 and 28. So it really doesn't change a whole lot of the situation for Pettigrew, other than which team he might end up at. But there's still really a wide array of places he could go.
Okay, Scott, which other teams do you hear associated with Pettigrew at this point?
Once you get past that 11 pick at Buffalo, the next one that seems to pop up a lot, the New York Jets at number 17. The question really with Pettigrew is are there enough teams that really need a tight end enough to take one in the first round? When you get down to 17 through about 28 or even to 31, there are a lot of teams who would be willing to take one because of the value of Brandon Pettigrew at that point in the draft. He's probably maybe a top 15 guy as far as talent, but in the top 15, there are guys teams are looking more at a left tackle or a rush end and things like that that are going to be a more integral part of their offense or defense than what a tight end is. So it causes Pettigrew to slip a little bit. So I think that once you get past that number 17 pick with the Jets, there's just about any team in that next range of 11 picks or so could take him. Atlanta at 24, even Baltimore at 26 is a possibility. A lot of teams in that area.
Okay, Scott, any other Cowboys who could hear their name called this weekend?
You know, it's a little bit frustrating for Matt Fodge because punters just don't get drafted all that regularly. He was the Ray Guy winner, had a great year, especially if you look at his stats at pinning people inside the 20, even inside the 10. He was the best in the country. That's why he won the Ray Guy Award, was because of his ability to put the ball down inside the 20, the 10, the 5 even, if he needed. So, he's going to be a guy that gets a chance to play somewhere. it's just really hard for a punter to get drafted. So it's unlikely that he'll get selected, but he'll get a chance and probably get a chance to play some pro football somewhere. A few other guys that made some waves with some of their workouts. Jacob Lacey went out and ran a really fast 40 time, both at his pro day at Oklahoma State and in some other workouts. But he's not a real big guy. Probably going to be tough for him to sneak in the draft, though that speed might give him a chance. David Washington is a solid veteran who had a long career at Oklahoma State as a center. That's a guy that maybe gets a chance somewhere, but most likely those guys are going to be looking for free agent deals.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Scott's got a big story coming up Saturday on the making of a prototypical tight end, the Brandon Pettigrew story. That'll be on News OK on Saturday morning. And to stay with all things Oklahoma State, follow the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoman.
Let's see it.